Hello, all you traders out there. Well, today's Wednesday of week 3 of the $1,000 journey here. The idea, again, is to make $1,000 per month doing this. Now, in theory, it should be fairly easy, but what we started with was $1,000, and, we started with $2,000. We threw 1,000 into the account, and we've added bits and pieces in order for safety and protection. We'll find out if that's a good thing in the future, but as always, guys, I am not a professional. I'm not certified in any way. This is just my experiences. So as we go through, feel free to comment below and let me know what you think. Anyway, today was Wednesday, and Monday and Tuesday were pretty straightforward stuff. Made a few bucks. In fact, Monday was kind of not so hot. I got caught picking stocks, picking pairs, and I only really made one trade for the day. In one hand, that's really good. It shows self-restraint. And as I write things down, because I write it in a journal as well, as I write things down, my biggest fear was going into Tuesday thinking I was, hot shit because, hey, guess what? I managed to control myself, which has been a problem since week 1, if you've been watching the videos. So I was pretty proud of myself. So I went into Tuesday, and Tuesday was just a great day. The market moves as the market wants to. We make predictions according to the likelihood of it happening, not, for sure. So Tuesday I went into the day just absolutely great. I had more than one trade. I had quite a few trades. In fact, I just had a stellar day. Tuesday was just absolutely amazing. So queue up today, this morning, Wednesday. I'm thinking it's going to be the same thing. A little bit of volatility is needed as a trader, obviously. Otherwise, nobody's going to, hedge any bets or anything like that or put any contracts out there that are worth even taking. So today, when I woke up, decided to go through it, and I just started off the day great. The market was pretty volatile, and it started getting worse, which I've chosen my time frame specifically because it doesn't do that. It does have a little bit of volatility. Obviously, I can make money through it, but it was never designed to be one of those 50 pips at a time, get absolutely drained out type of a thing. But I was seeing some serious volatility. So those were my concerns when I stepped into the market this morning. Obviously, you always want to read your strategy before you get started. And you always want to take a look at what the market's doing, not just the direction it's going, up, down, consolidating, whatever the case may be, but you also want to see what type of volatility, especially since I'm scalping. It's great that it's moving, in a 10-minute bar, it's only moved 20, but if it did 20 in the last 2 minutes, that's a huge problem for me, or if it's bouncing around. So as I look into it, I see a lot of volatility that looks kind of dangerous if it starts to get any worse, if you will. The snowball's starting to roll down the hill, if you want to use a good metaphor. So I start trading. I make 3, 4 just absolutely amazing trades. I've been doing really well. My balance is now at that point where I can start doing 2 contracts again. After my snafu in the beginning of last week, I figured, hey, here we go. So I started off, and it was just great. It was money, 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 money. I was doing amazing. And then I was like, okay, volatility is getting a little high, so I cut it back to 1 contract, and I made 2 different trades. Unfortunately, somewhere in the mix, and this is just, a sign of me being an amateur. I'm not a professional by any means, but somehow or another, when I went to make a trade, unfortunately, I must have clicked the wrong thing and went after 2 contracts again. I'm not going for 2 contracts. I intentionally cut it back because I knew the volatility was getting bad. And unfortunately, I got caught. So if you remember, the ratio is about 1 to 10. I can lose once, win 10 times. That's what it takes to balance. So unfortunately, I got caught. So I was down again. I was like, okay, got to stick at that 1 contract. And I went after it. My next trade was actually 2 contracts, and those 2 contracts both lost. It wasn't intentional. I realized after the fact that there is a section in the Nadex where you can go through and set it up so your settings automatically put a certain number of contracts. And what I had been doing all morning, or the previous trade rather, was I just subtracted 1 because I had set my default to 2. So I'd made quite a few good trades, and at the end of the day, I got caught again. So I went 3 contracts down, and my almost $500 that I was at, which was exactly where I needed to be to start running 2 contracts, Unfortunately, yeah, I'm back under $200 again. Not by much. I can still do one contract, but day in the life of a trader, this is what's really happening. And unfortunately for me, uh, I knew it was a volatile market. I even reduced my contracts for it, and in that rush that we a lot of traders like and love, and that's why I love scalping, is I missed that fine point. That fine point was one contract instead of two, and it cost me $200. Now, the worst part about it is I actually hedged the bet on that one to minimize my loss. Most people might think, hey, that's a great thing. But the volatility of the market after the fact, in the last 10 seconds, in other words, I'd already seen it. There was a volatility of about 4 pips throughout, and I was literally 10 pips above my target with a minute to go. And with this particular currency set, that's never going to happen. And if it does, I didn't even see it in the charts anywhere. So the rarity of it happening, I figured I better hedge my bet, get out while I still can, save it rather than take a full 200, and I hedged some of that off. So I had 2 contracts in there. By the end of it, I watched literally in the last 10 seconds. Not only did it go back down 10 pips, it actually went down 15. So the lesson there is safety is important, but also have faith in your trades. I think I was still right to hedge that so that I lost less, because I would have lost the full 200 and I'd already lost one full trade prior. So by the time all was said and done, I actually ended up with a $274 loss, which should have been closer to $350 because I did hedge out. So I did save myself about $100. Now, by pure coincidence, the market did actually bounce back and come through. And, you might, count your chickens before they're hatched or whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, I think what I did was right. I also think it was wrong, because had I just stuck with the trade that I had planned and followed my plan, I would have kept that $200. I would have never hedged it, and it would have been absolutely fine. Now, I think that was more of a fluke. I do not think it was part of the strategy or the plan. I think my chart reading was fine. I think it was one of those parts of the market where it decided what it wanted to do. So take what you will from the lesson. Had I followed the plan, I would have been right. Had I hedged it, I would have been right, because I was minimizing my losses, which is also part of risk management. So I don't think either way was wrong. Both sides of the plan were correct. The only thing I argue on this Wednesday for losing this much money, because this is literally half my account almost at this point, or it actually is at the end of the day, I'd cut back to one contract knowing that the market was getting volatile. And the truth is, common sense should have dictated get out of the market, because my plan was not set up to be able to trade during high volatility like this. So, lesson overall, follow your plan. Had I followed my plan, I wouldn't have even had to think about hedging it or possibly losing it or possibly winning it. So had I done it right, it wouldn't have been an issue to begin with. And I would have had a stellar day, because I really was doing great. I was actually up over $500, so I did lose a better part of half my account. But that's what this is all about. That's what this whole vlog is about, is the actual journey, not the bullshit you see out there. Oh yeah, I did, I turned 250 into 5,000. Yeah, that's one day. What about the other, 363 days? It's a 64, but if you count Christmas. Anyway, so this is a real life vlog, and these are what I'm going through. Anyway, leave a comment down below. Remember, it's not advice, but it is what I did and my thoughts on it. So if you got anything to say, let me know. Good luck out there trading, guys.